Hey all, and welcome back to Fuzzy Ducksy Gaming. Apologies for the long absence. I've been on holiday and then decided to give Gauntlet a try, as I've only really had one experience of Hardcore Path of Exile, and that was back in the last Gauntlet. Now I did okay in the last one. I got 2 characters to maps and to level 80, and I did have fun doing it, so I thought I'll give it another go. So firstly, for anyone that's not aware, the Gauntlet is an event which you can join from the character screen, which is a 10-day Hardcore SSF race event. There's points for leveling, bossing and delving, along with lots of various cash bounties for different things. Now it's not just a normal event, there are lots of mods in the Gauntlet event that are present throughout the entire game, and they make it very, very difficult. So the modifiers in this particular event were monsters fire 2 additional projectiles, 20% increased monster damage, monsters have 20% increased attack, cast and movement speed, monsters gain 30% of physical damage as extra cold, lightning and fire. Players start with -20 resistances, and monsters have 40% extra life. Now the Gauntlet was straight up a lot harder than the last one. With all the nerfs in 3.15, along with multi-proj coming back in this Gauntlet, getting through the campaign was way more difficult than any of the content I've completed in Softcore in 3.15. So let's start with, do I think Gauntlet's a good thing, and would I recommend people do it? Well, at the very high end of the tree, it's obviously a great chance for all the streamers and pros to battle it out for prizes and really supremacy. And I personally think it's a really good way to play POE once in a while, because it's a totally different experience. I've also learned a lot more about mechanics and bosses than I've ever learned in my entire time playing Softcore Path of Exile. The downside is that really there's only a handful of builds that have really got a chance of competing, and some are difficult to just even get to maps. The example being, in my first attempt, I stupidly tried to level a Rain of Arrows Elemental Ranger, as I had a really good LE bow drop that would have been good enough to get me through to sort of Act 6, and then I had a Tabula Rasa from Expedition Mechanic. But it was a slog. Even with the 6 link, I was looking at maybe 1 to 1.5 hours per act, and I never felt comfortable. And I eventually died to Act 5 Kitava when I got stunned and then multi-proged. This is when I realised how hard it was compared to the last Gauntlet, as in the last one, although I levelled really slow, I levelled a Lightning Strike Raider to maps, and I only died because I started pushing safe houses at like level 75 and I ended up getting one shot. So second time around I thought I'll give it one more go. I'll just go onto the ladder and see what everyone's playing. And everyone was really talking about, if you want to just get to level 90, play something like a Bleed Gladiator Spectral Shield Throw. So I thought, yeah, I'll do that and try and push to 90. And actually I had a lot more fun playing it than I did with the slams in the previous league. So my goal was to try and get to 90. Well, I succeeded, which I'm quite happy with. I got to level 91. My character's still alive. I've got an extra point for reaching Delve Depth 105. But I'm probably not going to push much more, as my damage is starting to struggle with pretty decent gear, to be honest, at tier 11 and 12 maps. So I'll need to farm a lot to gear up, and I don't really have the time or really the inkling to do it. I do think I'll definitely play the next Gauntlet, but probably not bother so much about I want to hit 90 or 80 or 70, but maybe just have some fun and see how far we can level certain skills. So pick a skill at random, see how far I can get with it. Even if I get to, you know, the middle of Act 1 and die from it, then try another skill. I think it would be a bit more fun, because this did become a bit of a slog, and it is very difficult and nothing's really easy. You have to pay attention all the time. One thing I would say about Gauntlet is I think the leveling is too hard. I know the event's meant to be difficult, but they could make the leveling a little bit easier, because once you get to maps, it's easier than the leveling process. Leveling to kill Kitava, I had a few close calls, even with really stupidly over gearing and over leveling. Once I hit maps all the way to 91, I can't think of any close calls that I had, and I've done 3 rounds of Conquerors, I've done up to 5 ways Mavens, and nothing's really caused me much trouble. And I think if a lot of players could get to maps, they'd then enjoy it a lot more. But I can imagine there's nothing more frustrating than someone who's maybe spent 2 hours an act over gearing, and then they got shotgunned by a mechanic that they didn't even know existed. I think it would be much better if they maybe made it so that some of the extra mods, like additional projectiles, only come in once you've killed Kitava the second time, or something like that. I think it would give players a chance of experiencing the Gauntlet more, and I think every player would learn a bit about the game from doing it. Now, the way I played, I didn't really touch red maps until I'd hit my level 90. I didn't get a 6 link or Ublav until level 90 either, so I was comfortable leveling in mid-tier yellow maps just with a 5 link, but I did have decent gear that I crafted. The other thing I really enjoyed about Gauntlet is I hadn't played SSF for a while, and it felt really rewarding when you upgrade your own gear or you craft your own gear and your character then breaks a threshold and starts doing more damage and content feels more comfortable. It's just got a much more rewarding feeling than just grinding currency for an hour, then going on trade and buying what you need. So I think due to this, I'm going to maybe try SSF Softcore again next league, as I think it will hopefully hold my interest throughout the league rather than burning out after 1.5 to 2 months. And that's really my experience with the Gauntlet. It's too difficult in my opinion, the leveling, but it was fun, albeit stressful. I think it's something that if you want to give it a go, just do it. There's no harm in doing it, even if you die to Hillock 10 times in a row and then you quit. It doesn't matter, it doesn't cost anything to join, and you can just do it from the character select screen. There should be some new content coming your way soon. What I'm looking to do is maybe build a few different guides about leveling through the first few acts of the campaign on different classes and looking at ways to do it quickly and efficiently. So until then, as always, take care and see you in the next video.